So today we're going to be looking at problem solving with time zones. So a company has offices in Brisbane and London. Alrighty, for those of you who don't know where London is in happy old little town right up here in the south of the UK. And so it is going to be UTC plus 0. So we know for London we're using UTC plus 0, and Brisbane's in Queensland, so it's UTC plus 10. Which we can see takes us down here. Okay, so standard office hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in London and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Brisbane. Determine a period of time when a worker in Brisbane can make contact with a co-worker in London, preferably during office hours during the Australian summer. Okay, well, because the Australian summer is not going to make a difference. Why? Because we're in Brisbane, and Brisbane's in Queensland. Queensland doesn't have daylight saving, so it is going to be UTC plus 10, and for London it is UTC plus 0. So the problem is we need to make contact. So we have to think about it. Is it make more sense for us to do things in Brisbane time or in London time? And in this case, I think that it makes more sense to get everything to London time. See, this is already in UTC plus 0, whereas this is in UTC plus 10 because it's in Brisbane time. And it says that the Brisbane worker wants to make contact with a co-worker in London. Well, if that's the case, then if the Brisbane person wants to make contact, well, it probably makes more sense for the Brisbane worker to try their best to contact during their time. Okay, so there's two ways we can do this. Option 1, we convert everything to UTC plus 0. Option 2, we convert everything to UTC plus 10. Let's go with converting everything to UTC plus 10. So we're going to go the other way this time, okay? So we have opening hours, which is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that's in London, which is UTC plus 0. And we want to convert that into UTC plus 10. How do we get from 0 to 10? Well, you add 10, or alternatively you can think about 10 minus 0 is 10, so it's going to be plus 10. Whichever way works, it works. So let's add 10 here, and let's add 10 here. So 9 a.m. plus 10 hours, 10, 11, 12 p.m., 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be 7 p.m. to, and 5 p.m., well, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 a.m., 1 p.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So 3 a.m. So these are the office hours of the London office. This is the London opening hours. Alrighty. But now converted into our timeline. So this now matches with our office hours, which are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you'll notice there's no overlap. 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. does not match with the Brisbane times, the Brisbane hours. So someone has to go outside of their comfort zone. So who's going to have to go out of comfort zone? So does the Brisbaneite have to go out of their comfort zone, or does the Londonite have to go outside of their comfort zone? Well, since the Brisbane person wants to contact him, I think the Brisbane person can go and put the effort in. So what's going to be the easiest time that's going to work? Well, it becomes a choice, right? Either you get in 6 hours early at 3 a.m. and make the call then, or option 2, you stay 2 hours late to contact them 2 hours later. And if I was that person, if I had a choice between staying 2 hours early, 2 hours later, or waking up 6 hours earlier, I'm going to go with the 2 hours later. So the optimal time is going to will be 7 p.m. Brisbane time, which will mean that, the Brisbane officer does have to wake up a little bit, has to stay a little bit after work. which is 9 a.m. Remember, because this was converted, 9 a.m. in London time. So it'll be a very early conversation for the for the Londonite, and it'll be a very late conversation for the Brisbaneite. Alrighty, so that is a little bit on unit conversions. Alrighty, so once again, with a lot of these sorts of worded problems, a big issue is going to be making sure everything's in the same units. And when I say everything's in the same units, what I really mean is that everything's in the same time zone. Alrighty, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.